Hello and welcome. Today I'd like to talk to you about Ollama Agents. This is a new framework that I'm putting together that only works with Ollama, doesn't work with OpenAI, doesn't work with any of the other foundation models. It's designed primarily to help developers uh, code agents that later on can be connected to foundation models. But this is a way to do development without a lot of expense. Uh, anyway, let's take a quick look at it here. So it's a multi-agent system now. Uh, so we can write different kinds of agents, multi-agents to do work together. We can write swarms. Uh, there's an easy agent selection from the main menu. This is a command line application. Uh, it has enhanced memory management, integrated DuckDuckGo search. Now, there are probably better ways to do search, but DuckDuckGo search is free. And one of the things that agents have to do well is assemble context. And so you have this for working out how you want to assemble your context. Later on, you can add different kinds of search capabilities. Uh, there is a knowledge base that's created here, and you can search the knowledge base. Now, we don't search the knowledge base every time there's a prompt because it just slows it down too much. Uh, this way, we only search it when we need something in particular. And we have chat history. We keep the last 15 prompts and responses in chat history, and that gets assembled into context every time. And when you do a memory search, it will stick the result into your context. So you can continue to uh, ask questions about the results of the memory search, at least until the 15 prompts are used up, because it's a first in, first out uh, a FIFO uh, queue. So the oldest chat history items drop out. There's also Fabric if you want to use a pattern. And I had this in another program working with every prompt. I've stopped doing that because, as I said, everything gets stuck up into the chat history anyway. So you can assemble what you need in the chat history, and then you can run a Fabric command to format the output the way you want. Uh, this whole project has been refactored. It should be very easy now for someone to understand how things are working together. Let me show you something. For example, let's go into source here, and we can look at the main.py here. And there's a lot of logging that goes on in here. But primarily, it should be easy to understand what's happening here. We list all the agents that are available. We're going to load an agent, so that these are the functions that do that. You'll see below how we use them. So we set up the console and print the welcome banner. You'll see up at the top here that the welcome banner, for example, is imported from source module's banner. Source module's input is also used to import get user input, and so on. So a lot of the functionality is up here in modules, and then it gets used. And this is this is powerful because all these modules are components that you can stick together. So the basic thing here is that we're just allowing you to pick the agent that you want to use here. It's pretty simple. Most of the statements you'll see in here are for errors and for logging. That's what makes this file so large. But the main logic of this is very simple, and I can give you a demonstration of that now. If I do a Python, where is it? Python minus m source main.py, you'll see that this is what happens. The banner gets printed, and then you get to choose an agent, and we can choose, let's choose number 3, and then here we are, we're in the agent. I'm just going to quit out of this. And so let's go on to agents now, because this is really where, as a developer, you want to spend your time. And so here's oneagent.py. Once again, there's a lot of logging in here now. I've added that, but the file is fairly simple. We're import the banner, import input, import process prompt, chat history, and assemble prompt with history. And then turn logging on, and down below we set up the console, and this is a rich console. Let's see, that's not done here. That's I believe that's done in, I don't remember where that's done, where the console is set up. I'll have to look at that. Anyway, we to the console we print the welcome banner with the username, which we grabbed from the config.py file. Then we print a separator, and you can see that here. Here's the separator, and you can throw one of these whenever you want, just to make it more attractive and easier to see what's going on. And then we do a get user input, and this uses something called prompt tool. And prompt tool is a standard Python package. Well, not standard. It's one that we pip install, so that we have some nice features. For example, let's choose 3 again here. So, for example, we have a history that I'm just hitting the up arrow here, and the other thing is I can use Vim commands to move around. I can delete this word here or change the word, long, things like that. So it's very nice to be able to move around your prompt this way. And if I just used standard inputs, I wouldn't be able to do any of this. All right, I'm just going to actually, I'm just going to delete this. And I'm going to quit out of here. All right, so that's why we use that, the get user input, that uses the prompt tool library. So you can see that this file is kept very simple. There's not very much in here, just a few components. And here's a multi-agent here. And this allows me to choose which agent I want from here. So once again, these are designed to be very simple, modular components. And then here are all the modules that get used: assemble.py, banner.py, etc., etc., etc. And one of the good things about this framework is the documentation. There's an architectural guide, and this gives a good overview of all of the modules, core components of them, what they do, how they're used, uh, data flow, memory management, etc. And then within here, you can drill down and you can look at the assembly module, for example. And this talks about the functions that are within there, how to use it, how to do testing, etc. Here's the config file documentation. This talks about all of the entries in the configuration file, how to set them, what they do, uh, why, and it also explains why it was created this way. Why does it use the get env, for example, and not just set a variable? Uh, so here's the logging guide. The logging guide goes into a lot of detail about why logging is set up the way it is and how to use it. We have the, where is it here? The JSON memory guide. This talks about the knowledge base, why it's set up the way it is, what are the fields within it, and then how can they be used? Why were they set up this way? So, for example, in the future, we're going to need to prune these memories, and we can do age-based pruning or relevance-based pruning, etc. So I think that you'll find that the documentation is very comprehensive, and here's the README file. Oh, I even have a file in here that talks about why the pip modules, why we chose these various pip modules. So, as I say, this is very comprehensive documentation. It should be very helpful to developers. All right, so what does this tool do? Let's go back out here and take a brief look at what's available in here. So once I choose an agent, then I can do a /h, which is help. And these are all the things we can do. We can quit. We can show what's in the chat history. So for example, if you want to know what's in there, this is all of the context that's going to be sent along with your prompt. Now I've got things in here about Bach, and if I want to talk about something else, that's not going to be very helpful. So what I can do is I can do a truncate. I can truncate this down to 2 entries, for example, or 3 entries. And now if I do a /hi again, we'll see that there are only 3 entries in here, and each one says give a short answer. So that's not very helpful either. Let's truncate it down to 1. Now we just have the one answer in there. So now if we give a prompt like, who was Alan Turing, then we're not going to have the Bach information in the context. That would not have been helpful at all for this prompt. It's taking a little while. I don't know why it's taking so long right now. This was going much faster before I made some changes to the code, so I'm going to have to debug that. But it should be quicker. At least it's streaming. So when it does start to write out, you don't have to wait for the entire response to be compiled before it's printed to the console. And I try to use different colors here so you can see what's my prompt and then what's the response. and then also use the separators to make that clearer. All right, so what else can be done here? We can do a search, and this is going to go out and do this /s is going to do a DuckDuckGo search. You see that comes back very quickly. Now, this DuckDuckGo search is added to the chat history, and therefore, well, actually, it's not added. I have to fix that. All right, well, that's an easy thing to fix, so I will fix that. But it should be added to the chat history, which means that once it's in chat history, it's available as context. So then you can start asking questions about it. All right, I did a lot of edits today, and so sometimes when you edit one thing, something else stops working. So we can do upload here, and this allows us to put a document in. So this comes back and it gives this list of things we can choose here. I'm going to go into my code directory as number 23. So type 23 here. And then within here, I'm going to go into the graph. Well, I'm going to do Open Copilot. Open Copilot was what number now? It was number 8. So number 8. And then I want the README, which is number 17. This takes a little while. It's breaking it up into chunks, and then it is changing it into embeddings and storing it, storing the embeddings. All right, so now if I do a /ch, that'll tell me the two chunks that I have here. And now I can say, tell me about Open Copilot. And because those chunks are out there, it's going to be able to look through them. The chunks actually get put into chat history. They get embedded, put into the knowledge base as embeddings, but also into chat history. We'll have to wait for this to finish. All right, so let's see what's in here. You'll see all the Open Copilot stuff has been put into here. So that means that it's available as context. Oops. All right, so then we can also do memory searches. We can change the model, and we can run fabric patterns. Anyway, I think this is a good introduction to Ollama Agents. I hope you enjoyed it, learned something. Please like and subscribe, and bye-bye.